Hola culés, and welcome back to the channel once again, guys, for a full Barca news roundup as we shall be covering the fallout from the just concluded Euro 2024 quarterfinals involving some Barca players, including the latest on Pedri's injury, as well as more on Jules Kounde, and also some news on João Felix and the future of Ansu Fati. I hope you are having a wonderful weekend, so let's get straight to it. But I must begin by talking about that quarterfinal between the host nation Germany and our favorite Spain, which in all honesty is a game that had the bit of everything from brilliant goals to some quality defending, as well as some nice play during the course of the game. But I have to add that this game started on a very bitter note for myself and every other person who is associated with FC Barcelona, because our midfield dynamo Pedri picked up an injury after a disgraceful tackle by Toni Kroos. And I have to add that this was downright disgraceful from both Toni Kroos and the referee, because this was a malicious tackle in every sense of the word. And the referee was disgraceful because he didn't even hand Toni Kroos a yellow card. Toni Kroos was busy making a lot of foul plays for about an hour in the game before he even got his first yellow card on the night. And the English referee, Anthony Taylor, was not even decent enough to even hand him a booking. That tackle on Pedri alone deserved a booking. And even the Spanish manager, Luis de la Fuente, said in his post-match press conference that that was a tackle that was deserving of a red card. Well, I don't know if Kroos actually had intentions of hurting Pedri, but I have to add that Toni Kroos knew exactly what he was doing. He knew exactly what the consequences of going in that challenge like that would leave on the player, but yet he went ahead to leave that tackle on Pedri. Unfortunately, this is yet another setback for Pedri in his journey to gaining full fitness and an extended run of gameplay in both the Spanish national team and for Barca, because he has to start his recuperation all over again. And I'm sure I am not the only one who feared the worst when Pedri went down after that challenge, because I was having the worst thoughts in my head. It could easily have been an ACL tear, and we know what it means. If it was an ACL tear, Pedri was likely to miss a large chunk of next season. But thankfully, it has been confirmed with reports coming out from the Spanish camp that it was just an internal knee sprain. Thankfully, because it could have been way worse. I know an internal knee sprain is not the best injury to have in the world, but considering that the situation could have been worse, I think an internal knee sprain is good news for Barca compared to an injury like, say, an ACL at this point in time, because Pedri is a young man that has been through a lot of troubles with injuries in recent years. So thankfully, it is only an internal knee sprain, and Pedri will hopefully only be out for weeks and not months, as it is looking at the moment. However, reports have also come out that Barca would be entitled to some form of compensation from UEFA, the football body who is organizing the Euro 2024 tournament. If Pedri misses more than 28 days, then Barca is entitled to a 20,000 euro payment for each day that Pedri is out injured beyond the original 28 days. Barca would be entitled to a payment of 20,000 euros as compensation from UEFA, that is European football's governing body. However, I know that Barca and myself would definitely be hoping that Pedri would not be out for so long, because we need him for next season. Hansi Flick needs him for next season. Barca needs him for next season. It's unfortunate that Kroos has put Pedri back in this unfortunate situation, and I was really disappointed to see the smirk on Toni Kroos' face after leaving such a disgraceful tackle on the young player. However, he showed a bit of class moments later after speaking blah about his retirement and all of that. He also left some few words for Pedri in his post-match interview. He said that wishing for forgiveness and a get well soon to Pedri. It wasn't my intention to hurt you. A speedy recovery and all the best. You are a great player. So it is good to see Kroos admitting the fact that what he did was out of line. But then again, the deed has been done. So an apology will only do so much into easing the situation. But then it is what it is. Kroos has apologized. Pedri, thankfully, it's not an ACL tear. So I guess at this point, we have to move on. However, I really like to add that it was nice to see the touch of class that Toni Kroos' German teammate Ilkay Gundogan, the captain of the national team, showed after the game as well, just as the host nation were eliminated. He was seen talking to Ferran Torres, who is a very close friend of Pedri's, mind you, and he was asking about the well-being of Pedri, because Ferran actually helped Pedri with carrying his luggage outside the stadium at the conclusion of the game, and Gundo was there finding out from Ferran about the welfare of Pedri and ensuring that everything was fine, because despite the fact that they are rivals on the international stage, they are all teammates at Barca. But I do have to move on now to another Barca player who unfortunately suffered an injury during the course of this international window, because Uruguay defender Ronald Araujo, who mind you has been having a very good tournament in the ongoing Copa America 2024 in the USA, has been ruled out for between 6 to 8 weeks, as has been confirmed by Javi Miguel via Mundo Deportivo. He was in action for the national team in the early hours of Saturday morning, playing against Brazil in the Copa America quarterfinals, a game where Uruguay ended up winning 4-2 on penalties after playing out a nil-nil draw. However, Araujo did not finish the game as he limped off the pitch. It is reported that it is a muscle injury and Araujo would be out for between 6 to 8 weeks. This is another sad blow for Barca, because 6 to 8 weeks, that means that Araujo is likely to also miss the bulk of preseason and also likely to miss the beginning of next season under Hansi Flick. This is a setback not just for the player but for Barca as a club, because Araujo is a cornerstone in the Barca defense, and this means that Araujo is unlikely to leave Barca this summer, because we have been hearing a lot of reports that Araujo might just be one player that might attract some very serious interest from other clubs, because he is a player with a high transfer value, and some news came out that Barca may be looking for a way to cash in on the player and also use that as a way of easing the financial worries that have been plaguing the club. But with this injury, what it means is that Araujo may no longer be on the transfer market. However, I must now move to the other quarterfinal in the Euro 2024 on Friday night, involving some Barca players as well, as Jules Kounde's France were up against João Cancelo and João Felix's Portuguese national team. It was a game whereby France won 5-3 on penalties after both sides played a goalless draw, and Kounde once again had another good performance on the night, because he was coming up against Rafael Leao, and I must add that it was a very good test for Kounde on the night, because Rafael Leao is a very tricky player to come up against, but Kounde held his own for the large part of 120 minutes on the night. He was defensively solid and he joined into the attack as well from time to time. Kounde had a very good game on the night, and he was one of the decisive players for France on the night as well, because he was one of the 5 players that converted his penalty kick in the penalty shootout. It is important to note that Kounde has never ever played a penalty in his career before. However, Kounde made it clear after the game that he really wanted to take one, because he had been practicing penalties even during Barcelona training, and he let the manager Didier Deschamps know that he really wanted to take one for France on the night. Up he stepped to the spot and he dispatched his penalty with aplomb. He converted his penalty coolly past Diogo Jota, and Kounde was one of the players who helped France to the all-important shootout victory over Portugal, where they will be facing Spain in the semi-finals, and that will be another massive test for Kounde on the night, because he has come up against some really tricky wingers during the course of this tournament. Remember, he was up against Jeremy Doku when France eliminated Belgium in the round of 16, and in the just concluded quarterfinals he was up against the very tricky Rafael Leao, and on Tuesday night he will be coming up against a player who may even end up as his teammate at Barca next season in the form of Nico Williams, as France come head to head with Spain. And Kounde, with the performances he has been putting in Euro 2024 so far, will definitely be hoping for another good night of work while wearing the French national team shirt. He had this to say after the game against Spain was confirmed. He said, "I love important matches. They help me to get better. I am always excited to play against this type of players. I try to rise to the challenge every time." As per quote from Mundo Deportivo. So Kounde is definitely looking forward to the challenge of coming up against a player like Nico Williams. But now I also have to talk about another player who was in action on Friday night, because João Felix was in action for Portugal. He came on as a substitute in the game, and he was one of the players that lined up to take a penalty. Unfortunately, Felix was the fall guy on the night. He was the villain for Portugal on the night, because his penalty miss turned out to be the decisive miss of the shootout, as he hit the post when faced with France goalkeeper Mike Maignan. And I have to add that I really wasn't filled with a lot of confidence when I saw João Felix stepping up to take the penalty on the night. He has come in for a lot of flack in the aftermath of the miss. A lot of criticism has come his way, and I'm really glad that someone like Gavi was showing him a support, as he showed his support to Felix via his Instagram page after the game on Friday night. A lot of flack has been coming Felix's way. A lot of fans have been insulting him on social media. Felix has had a really tough last few months. He lost his place in the Barça team last season under Xavi. In the course of the Euros, he hasn't had much game time for the Portuguese national team. And now he doesn't even know what his future looks like, because it is reported that Felix might not even be returning to Barça this summer. He has made it clear that his priority is to return to Barça next season. And Barça have also made it clear that they would like Felix to continue. But the condition might not just be right for both player and club to continue their association, because now we are hearing that his boyhood club Benfica are in advanced talks with his parent club Atletico de Madrid over a permanent deal that will see him return to Portugal. However, it is very unlikely that Atleti are going to recoup a large portion of the 126 million euros that they paid Benfica to transfer Felix a long time ago. Now we are hearing rumors of a fee in the range of about 30 million euros, but then we'll definitely get more clarity as the news progresses. But at this point, Felix seems to be leaning closer to a deal with Benfica than a return to Barça. But now I also have to add that this is just a move that may suit Felix in this point in his career, because Felix, to be honest, has stagnated a bit in his career. Since he left Benfica to join Atletico, it has been downhill. It seems like he has been around for a long time, but it's easy to forget that Felix is still only 24 years old at this point in his career. And I think a move to a club like Benfica may just be what Felix needs at this point in his career, because it's a low profile move for him. He has been shuffled around some of Europe's top clubs in recent years. Since he joined Atletico, he has gone to Chelsea on loan, he has come to Barca on loan, but unfortunately it hasn't worked out. So maybe a move back to Benfica, where he can feel at home, where he knows the club, where he started from. This may just be what Felix needs at this point in his career. It hasn't worked out for Felix so far, but then again, this is not to say that Felix's future may not still be bright, because Felix is a talented player, and with the right conditions, I am definitely sure that the footballing world will get to see the best of João Felix once again. Let's not forget that Felix is still only 24 years old, even though it feels like he has been around for a very long time. Felix is still only 24 years old, and hopefully a move back to Benfica will revitalize his career, and we shall see the best of João Felix once again. But now I have to move on to the future of Ansu Fati, because it is being reported in the Spanish media at this point that Ansu Fati is wanted by José Mourinho in Fenerbahce. Mourinho is starting a new project out in Turkey, and it is said that Ansu Fati is a player that he would be looking to bring in if Hansi Flick decides not to bet on him for next season. Barça, for their part, have been desperately looking to shop Ansu Fati around. However, it is said that any move concerning Fati's future will only be made after he has been assessed in preseason by Hansi Flick. Now Mourinho is said to be interested, and this is really a rumor that I have to lean towards, because do not forget, the agent of Ansu Fati in the form of Jorge Mendes is also the agent of José Mourinho. And at this point, it is not surprising that Ansu Fati is being linked with a move to join Mourinho in Fenerbahce. However, what we are hearing is that Ansu Fati does not want to leave Barça. He wants to stay at Barça. He wants to be a success at the club. He is hoping that Hansi Flick would give him an opportunity to stake his claim for a place in the team next season. He also said that I scored the last goal at the Camp Nou, and I hope that I can score the first one when the renovation is complete. That is, when the remodeling of the Spotify Camp Nou is completed. Ansu Fati is still having hopes that he would be the player to score the first goal at the remodeled Camp Nou. It is still early days in this transfer window, so time shall tell what plays out with the future of Ansu Fati. However, from all indication, it seems that Barca would be looking to move on the player this summer because the club are desperately and actively seeking to sign Nico Williams from Athletic Bilbao. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, guys. What do you make of the injuries to Pedri and Ronald Araujo? And what do you make of Toni Kroos's apology to Pedri? What do you make of the performances of Jules Kounde once again? And also, let me know your thoughts on the futures of João Felix and Ansu Fati. Please, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, share the video as it helps with the algorithm, and also do us a favor by subscribing to the channel. Also, turn on your notification bell so that whenever we drop a video on the channel, you shall be notified. But until next time, as always, Visca, El Barça, and I'll see you on the next one. Adios.